So our guest today is Marcia Walters with Why Worry Photography. Marcia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. So you are a photographer.
Yes.
Nature photographer? What's the proper term?
Bird and wildlife.
Bird and wildlife, okay.
Yes.
Sometimes scenic, maybe?
I did start in scenic, and then I just got so enamored with birds and wildlife that I pretty much switched.
What is scenic? Is that landscapes?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been a photographer?
I started photography probably in the late, 2000, so about 2009, 2010. And I initially did mostly documentary photography, which is just to document things, not really to make it an art, but I was always interested in art. And from the time I was 3 years old, I just was drawing constantly. And so I ended up finding somebody who is a wildlife photographer, and I watched his presentation that he had on Facebook, and it really spoke to me. So I did get his help. I joined his classes, and they were basically life-changing in terms of my photography.
How long have you been here?
I moved here in 2012. Part of the reason for moving here is the national park, as well as the beauty, of course, in this area.
Where did you move from?
Half Moon Bay, California. Yeah.
So what did you do before you found photography?
I have a career as an RN in cardiac and thoracic surgery at Stanford, and that was 37 and change years. And actually I used my art while I was there too, making pamphlets for patients for pre-op. They would be able to see through my sketches what the surgeons would be doing, and the surgeons supported that as well as management. And so I just continued with art all the way through.
I'll be darned. So what was it about photography? What was it when you saw that presentation that just grabbed you?
The images evoked emotion, and that's what I wanted.
Images of motion or in motion?
Emotion.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create images that were an art form, and images that would draw people and create emotion on the viewer's end, and something that would be impactful to people versus documentary.
So did you start with scenic? Did you start the photography when you got here, or a little bit before?
I started with this particular instructor in 2020. So, and then just continued in classes, and I'm in a mentorship now.
Oh, okay. So, so you moved here in 2012, but you started the photography recently, a few years ago.
I started getting very serious about it recently.
Well, let's take a look at some of your work, because it doesn't look like somebody that's been doing this for 3 or 4 years. So, Jeremy, this is, and all these are taken here?
All these were
San Juan
taken
Island?
here.
Okay, so tell us about this one.
Okay, so this is one of the favorite foxes out on the prairie at American Camp. And he's quite the character. He's also has a history of being a helper, which is basically a stand-in for the parents when they need to rest or hunt.
Really?
He takes care of the fox kids and feeds them and plays with them and protects them.
Wow.
And so that's a photo of his patrolling the area.
That's his patrol face,
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
So you've how much time would you say you spent out there?
During the spring, I spend probably 4 to 6 hours a day.
Wow.
And then I spend another 3 or 4 hours post-processing once I get the images uploaded.
Do you stay on this side of the fence? Or do you, you don't cross the fence? Do you?
Actually, there's, where I usually am, there's no fence, but I do stay the 75 feet away. Yeah.
So here's another.
Yes, and that's a short-eared owl.
Beautiful.
They're
Beautiful light.
interesting to photograph. They have very quick, sudden movements, dives, and then they go to rest for about 30 minutes in between. They're looking for food.
Is this the same area as the?
This is, yes.
Yeah. What camera do you use?
I have a Sony A1, which is probably the top of the line. I
Good
saved
camera.
and saved and saved.
Yeah.
And then I have a 400 2.8 Sony lens, and that's invaluable too.
2.8 is pretty good.
It is.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and it helps me with low light because I do like to photograph in low light.
What's the speed? Do you remember the speed? What the speed likely would have been there?
3,200 probably.
Yeah, it's definitely stop motion.
Yeah.
Great detail.
Thank you.
Okay. What's this?
Okay, so this is that same fox that was patrolling, and this is one of the kits that he's taking care of, and they're both the same color. The adult fox is bleached out; his coat is bleached out, and but the kit is the color that he was when he was a kit.
Yeah. I've seen this around town. I think this is a
Okay.
very popular. You
Yes.
sell a lot of these?
I do.
Yeah,
This
I've
is
seen this at least 2 different places already.
Yeah, and this
It's the tail, right?
It's the tail
like, hey,
hug,
buddy,
and
let's take a walk.
I've only seen that 3 times, and only once where the one fox with the tail hanging over the silver phase, he actually pulled her into him with his tail. So it's a unique photo.
You knew you had it, right? As
I
soon as you
knew I
took
had it, and
Yeah.
although I was way underexposed, but
Oh, yeah?
for
It
some
doesn't
reason
show.
I was able to
Yeah, it doesn't show.
rescue it.
Yeah. Can't wait to get home then, right, and see.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is going to be as good as I think. I mean, you need to get it on a big screen and
You
really
do.
see the pixels and everything. But
Yeah.
you can tell looking at the camera. So this is a good one.
Yeah.
I think
That's great.
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
How many? Is that it, Jeremy? We have more. Oh, this is amazing.
Yes, this is in 2021.
Amazing.
I was able to get this,
Look
and
at that.
a friend and I were out, and we really wanted to get a backlit photo, and it was kind of towards the end of the season, and they were playing side by side and running around, and I could see the backlit was impressive, and then all of a sudden they sparred, and it was like, oh my God! I mean, I was on a high for weeks.
Yeah. I prefer to think they're being buddies, but they're actually sparring,
Well,
right?
yeah, it's
It's
play
not what it looks
sparring.
like.
Yeah, they're kids, so
Yeah.
it's kind of spring kids, so they're.
And look at just the uniformity of that contour. It's just amazing. And you can see the eyebrows or whatever you call it, and
Yeah,
the
the
whiskers.
eyelashes,
Look at that.
yes.
It's just absolutely beautiful. Color's perfect. Yeah. So 6 hours? 6 hours
4
down
to
there?
6 hours a day
You take a lunch
in
here?
the field.
You just,
No, I sit on the ground
okay.
typically, or kneel.
Oh, here's another.
Oh, yes. So these are 2 kits, and these are in the blue eye stage. So when they're that young, their eyes are blue because the melanin has not
Really?
developed to the point where it darkens the iris. So, and the eyes can be also a little bit cloudy, but at like probably a week later, they had dark irises.
I'll be darned. That's quick. So, look at that.
Yes, this is a young female,
Hunting.
and yes, she's pouncing and actually trying to pounce on her brother. But it was nice because it was an approach pounce shot, which is very
Right.
difficult to get.
Yeah. Again, perfect focus. Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's just amazing. So where do you learn so much about the foxes? Do you read a lot?
I read a whole lot, yes.
So you're kind of an expert on their personalities and their
Behaviors. Development.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in anything to do with foxes, and I really enjoy it when families come by and have little kids, and I just love to talk to them about foxes and other wildlife that is out there.
So do you see amateur photographers maybe that aren't from here, maybe tourists, misbehaving a little bit sometimes?
Not that often. It's usually when they're trying to get images with a cell phone, and they don't understand that if you follow a fox at all, they'll just walk away or trot away. If you just stay still, they're usually curious and they'll stay still. So it's more of an education thing for them, not realizing that foxes don't like people walking after them.
Sure. Who would?
Yes, yes.
It's just be.
And there are limitations to where people can walk on the prairie.
Right. Well, do you think that you'll be doing this for the rest of your career, or do you think that you'll move on to something else?
No, I think this is it.
This is it?
And I do enjoy the national parks in the Rockies, so I enjoy also photographing moose, and I'm looking forward to caribou. I know a spot for that now. And so anyway.
So where can we find your work?
Right now on my website, it was at Island Studio.
Okay.
And then, of course, the
That's where I
studio
saw,
art.
that's where I saw
Yeah.
several of those, especially the tail over the,
Yeah.
that's definitely where I saw that.
Yeah.
What's your web address?
It's whyworryphotography.smugmug.com.
Why Worry Photography
.smugmug.
smugmug.com.
Yes,
What's Smugmug?
that's a company where my website
Okay.
came out of.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you think that you'll be back in a studio or a gallery at some point, or you're going to stick with online for a while?
I would like to, if when something becomes available that fits my photography, I would really like to go back to a studio. Island Studio was, to me, precious.
Yeah.
It was really amazing, and
Yep.
Chris did a beautiful job of managing it and selling and everything.
So you're part of the studio tour coming up?
Yes.
Talk about that. Is this your first?
No, I think
Okay.
it's my fifth.
Okay.
So the first time I went on the studio art tour was in 2013, and it was like I could not believe the quality of art that comes out of this area. And I was kind of blown away, and I was really excited. And so I thought, well, I don't think I'm ready for this by a long shot, but it's something to kind of point
You had a goal.
towards.
It gave you a goal.
A goal,
Yeah.
yes. So I've really enjoyed it, and I love the studio.
When was the first one?
The first one, my first stop on the first time I did the tour was the Spaldings. And that's where I'm a guest. So
Excellent.
just kind of stuck there.
Okay. Well, this is beautiful work, and it's work I've seen and I recognize. And there's so many photographs and there's so much art here. It says something to me that I remember at least two of your images, maybe three. Yeah, Jeremy, go ahead and roll through those once more. So we're so lucky to have artists like you, and keep it up. We will be seeing you along the studio tour, and we hope that you get, if you do get into a gallery or a studio, let us know, would you?
Okay, thank
and
you.
we'll spread the word.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, and thanks so much for sharing these beautiful images.
Yeah.
So very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
one of the reasons,
Yeah.
too, why I do this, I really support public lands,
Okay.
and I hope that it brings attention to public lands and conservation.
Excellent, outstanding. Okay, thank you. Marcia Walters, really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'll
you.
see you on the sidewalks of Friday Harbor.
Okay, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.